Hello, everybody. How are you this evening? My name is Darren Kent, and I am the Chief Communications Officer for the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church, and I am ecstatic to be with you on this evening to be able to talk to you a little bit about media and how my mind works. It's been about media for a very long time now, and now I'm working in the capacity of a communications director. So we're going to go into a little bit of that as well. But I want you to, kind of go along with me for a little bit of a journey on this one. It's just going to be me on this evening. So I'm sorry to disappoint you, but all your practical teaching is going to come from me on this edition. And then in the future, we're going to bring more and more people into the fray. Uh, so again, Darren Kent, Chief Communications Officer. And then you got my other role, which is the editor-in-chief of the Star of Zion. Now, both of them are kind of the organs as how we communicate throughout the life of the A.M.E Zion Church. One of them we use as kind of the official announcement kind of place, and where we can go to get official documents and press releases and all information about A.M.E Zion culture. And then the other is reporting those facts inside the church. So the Star of Zion then takes that content, those press releases, and then puts it out there for our external audience to then consume inside a printed paper and also on a digital platform as well, and our website at starofzion.org. So I'm working in two capacities, but specifically on tonight, just coming to you from the communication side. Um, Kind of breaking that down a little bit further and how my mind works as far as media is concerned. And then I know I have an audience out there that is eager to learn more about media and practical solutions that are going to get you through your day to day and on your weekends at church. And in your ministries, and how they're going to help you grow and translate what you've been doing inside your worship to what is happening in the digital space right now. We're going to take it pretty basic on tonight. And then, like I said, when the guests come on, then we'll take deep dives into each aspect of what we are trying to accomplish for our ministries moving forward. I'm a father. I have my two little daughters right now, Mackenzie and Maya, and I have two sons that are on the way, twin boys. I also am a husband to the beautiful Nina Kent, and we are, ecstatic to just be able to be used by God at this moment to be father and wife at this point to bring these children into the world and then teach them up in different areas that they need to grow and learn them in Christ. I'm also a son to John and Elizabeth Kent. My father's passed away, and my mother is now living with me down here in North Carolina. So that's a little bit of a different speed for me. But, I'm giving you my full scope of who I am because I want you to really go with me on the journey of how I ended up becoming elected as the Chief Communications Officer. Let's really take a look at that. And when we do that, I hope you can attach yourself to my journey in some aspect, some way, shape, or form to where you are right now, because I've done a lot and I've probably seen everything that you're going through. And I'm able to empathize with you. And hopefully we can share together and grow this amazing ministry for the love of Christ. All right, so before we go any further, I need you to attach yourself to our following, our presence online, all right? And this is something that you should be doing moving forward. Every time you go live, every time you have your pastor speak somewhere, every time you yourself are speaking in front of people and you have a hybrid audience, the people inside the worship experience and the people that are online that are watching, you need to ask them to follow you. You need to give them specific instructions and how to follow you, because they could have just stumbled upon this page. They might not know what to do next. And to be very clear, and this is what I'm going to say right now, is what you need to do is you need to go up and find the like button. The like button is probably at the top of the page or off to the side, or maybe it might be, if you're looking at YouTube, it might be the subscribe button. But I need you to follow the A.M.E page. That's at A.M.E page. Or follow the @Star of Zion page. All right, so those two locations, that's where I need you to go. I'm going to actually put this on the screen as well so you can see it there, and I'll leave that up for a little while. Now, these instructions are paramount to how we spread the gospel, right? If we're not doing that, people are, they'll stumble upon what we're doing, and they might log on and hang with us for a little while, but then they won't know when the next time something is happening, and they won't be able to connect with us in the future. So until we get one-stop shops like our website and places that we know we're going to be up at every single moment, we really need to encourage people on social media not to just haphazardly find us, but to be intentional about finding what we're doing for God's glory. Okay, so I started way back in Bethesda Baptist Church. So I grew up Baptist, and I was Baptist for about 18, 19 years. That was how I grew up, how I knew everything I know about Christ. I used to have to get up in front of people and give the scripture in church and things of that nature. And I got a little bit of public speaking, but I then started to do some creative things at that church. And I'm going to actually show you one of those creative things right now. Take a look at this.
Time it is. Hello, my name is Darren Kent. I'm a member of the Tribe Called Blessed Youth Ministry at Bethesda Baptist Church. Now I want to welcome y'all to our promotional video for the College Tour 2003. We're going to Maryland and Washington, D.C., y'all. For the next 15 minutes, we're going to give y'all everything from pricing to the list of schools and the dates. All the information that y'all need to come join us on this college tour. All right, yo, let me tell y'all a little secret. This college tour is going to be real nice, okay? So I want y'all to sit back, relax, enjoy this video, okay? So stay right there. Enjoy it. Now, yo, the college tour only comes around one time a year. I know y'all want to know the date. Y'all don't want to miss it, do you? Yes! 30 to 8? Yeah, wow. Point game. You got this. Let's go. Make sure you don't score. Dude! I don't believe they won! Yo, this is ridiculous.
I want that rematch again, so we gonna whip y'all again.
We can't do the rematch, yo. We're going to this college. Oh!
Okay, I had to stop that. That's hilarious even for me to look at. First of all, do you see how young I look? All right, so that's how I weighed for a very long time. I didn't have all this weight that I have on right now. I used to look like that. All right, I'm getting off of that. But also, you see the interlacing that was going on in that video. You know, we used to record to the little cassette tapes back in the day and put them in the replay. And then if you recorded over top of that, then it just became a problem. So that's actually somewhere. I won't say where, but I found that and I thought that would be comical. Now, again, that's just a little joke to get us started on this evening, but it just shows me how long I've been doing this. That was me in front of the camera back then, and I had no idea that I was doing exactly what I'll be talking about even to this day, which is how do you promote and how do you get people interested into something at your church, an event, a worship experience. What are the creative ways that we can then do this? Now, I then grew from there and I started doing a little bit in front of the camera when I went to my next church, which is the Greater Centennial A.M.E. Zion Church in Mount Vernon, New York, the best city in the world, other than where I'm living right now, because we won't go into that. But yes, I started being able to take the vision of the pastor, the right Reverend Bishop Darren Moore. He was the pastor at the time at that church, and then we took his vision, whether it was surrounded by an event or the leadership, and then we would make videos and then air them inside the church. And he gave us a lot of privileges to be able to do that inside the church. He wouldn't even ask to see the video sometimes because he had such trust in us. And I think that trust and that creativity is where I started to get my feet in, right, my foot. I started to understand, who I was in Christ, and I knew I was never going to be a minister, but maybe my ministry was doing things of this nature, making videos, content creation, taking pictures and video and things of that nature. So I go into the service one time. They throw these huge screens on the wall, and they had nobody to run it. The Reverend DeAndre James Daniels had to segue to the pulpit because he was doing other ministry with the children. And then I ended up just taking it on for a solid 2 years of not getting any pay, a little bit of stipend here and there, but just doing it as ministry. Then that turned into an actual position. It was a multimedia director of Greater Centennial. And underneath that title, I was able to have lead over photography ministry and the sound ministry and video ministry and AV ministry. Actually, sound wasn't in that. Sound was separate, but video and AV ministry. And then from there, had to identify people and actively seek out people in the congregation to find out who was going to be good at these things when I couldn't be available, because we had 3 worship services, so that was not feasible for me to be at every single worship service, and then things that are going on in the week. So I had to begin to exemplify some trust in areas with people that were able to take what I knew and then run with it. Also had some knowledge of what they were doing, but even if they had a willing heart, that was key. Just to have a willing heart to be able to want to do more for God. I was able to train them, bring them in on Saturday mornings, do mock services, and we learned a lot and we grew together. And that ministry, I think, really benefited from the creative juices that came from that department to enhance the worship service. Then as I started doing more ministry, I ended up going to work outside the church, but still in the denomination. And I was learning as I was going the fact that we had all of these churches that were all connected in the A.M.E. Zion Church. I started working on the West Coast, and then I started working in the Mid-Atlantic. Down when I began working in the Mid-Atlantic, which was years later, I was the communications director there, director of communications for the Mid-Atlantic Episcopal District. And then I, worked on my own LLC because people started asking for things that were outside the scope of religious activities. And then I started doing baby showers and all sorts of other things under DarrenKent.com, previously known as Jesus Peace Productions. Learning, growing every single time, just trying to figure out how to do things better than the time I did it before, making a lot of mistakes. All right. So I'm speaking to the technicians out there. I had many trial and errors. I mean, even most recently to a year ago, big trial and errors with a lot of people looking at what I was doing wrong. But I always rebounded because I had faith in my ability, and I was always very appreciative for the opportunity. And I always confronted what I did wrong with the people that I might have affected through anything that I might have done wrong in the past as far as technology was concerned. And then I grew from it. I learned from it. So all that's to say, I've been where you've been. I've seen what you've seen. I've operated the cameras. I'm still operating the cameras. I've taken the pictures on site. I've been the person that they just hand the thumb drive to at the last minute. Yeah, thumb drive here. Hey, here you go. Throw this on the screen and make that available for everybody, and have it look nice and pretty and advance the slides when I'm saying advance. And I've been, treated probably on the bottom of the totem pole. But I'll say this: what happened? The pandemic happened, right? Pandemic kind of switched all that. So when we were, and I say we because I'm talking to my virtual technician audience right now. When we were like at the bottom of the totem pole, we were then elevated to a certain extent. Like your pastor then had to contact you directly, right? Like that was happening. Like your, the special guests that were coming in to speak to the district or speak to the church, guess what? They had to contact you directly, and you had to have a one-on-one conversation with that person offline and make sure that their tech was right and understood that their camera and their lighting was good, and they found out you were a funny guy and that you had a personality and you weren't just somebody that was clicking buttons in the background, but you actually were going to school for whatever it is you were going to school for. All these things started to happen, and it was like, wow, the tide is kind of turning. Like we're getting a little bit of recognition for all the work that we've been putting in all these years. And then we're coming out of the pandemic right now. And what's happening? I think we're doing so many amazing things, and we're treating our technicians and keeping them a part of the fray, but we can do better. I'm here to tell you that. We can do better than what we're doing. And now I'm speaking to the leadership, the pastors that are online right now, the top level leaders that have been now going through a pandemic, seen the members go completely out, trusted the technicians to get them through, and then now the members are coming back in. And what have we done to the technicians? Are we keeping them in the fray? Are we keeping them in the conversation? Are they in the forefront of the meetings? Have we done that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that we're not going right back to how it was before the pandemic. And we're not completely out of it. I know we're still working through it, but I'm here to tell you that we as a collective can do so much better than what we've been doing in the past. It was top heavy on both directions before. It was top heavy with just walking into church, hit the live stream button, shoot whatever's there, not knowing anything left or right, right? Then it got top heavy where we trusted everything on the technician. So even if the technician got sick that week, your entire world, your service was done, right? And that was too much. Now we gotta get a little bit of a balance here. How do we do that? How do we get that balance? It's getting ahead of it. I'm encouraging you to get ahead of it, to prepare. That's what it's all about. It's trying to find that happy medium to say, okay, we're doing a series this month, and the series is about love. And we're going to be talking to our entire church and trying to have different aspects of love. We're going to have that thread throughout the Bible studies as well. And we're going to send materials out throughout the week in order for them to work in their study groups and things of that nature. All right, cool. Got it. Now, have you given that to your communications director? If you have one, you might not have one, and I understand that. But have you given that to the person that's doing media at your church? Have you given them a heads up, or are they walking into the church blind and kind of just like, oh, I didn't know we were doing love. I didn't know I was supposed to point the camera over there because they were doing a special tribute to, how we're celebrating everybody for the month of June with love, or Father's Day tribute is coming over here. And they just handed me the thumb drive and said, play this video. And guess what? The sound was a little funky in the middle. All of these things, if we work together, we can do so much better. We can work through it. If we are in these meetings ahead of time, and I say we, the technician, I'm speaking from that heart right now, for that angle, all right? I'm speaking for the voiceless, so to speak, all right? And I'm telling you, if we're in these meetings, if we get a heads up as to what's going on, we can work through it with you. We're so good that since we've been doing it through the pandemic, most of us, right, that you can tell us, this is what I'm thinking about. This is the direction I want to go in. This is where I'm planning. I'm working through. What are your ideas? How would you suggest? And you don't have to do what they say, but how would you suggest that we translate this to the digital platform so that our audience can best consume it and can best be engaged in it? The engagement thing is going to be huge through these months coming up. All right, because I'm going to bring people on that are going to tell you about how to engage, how to get that ROI, that digital ROI, right? Return on investment. How do we get that digital return on investment from the people that are watching? I think a lot of pastors, they're looking at like, why am I investing in a communications director or a media person or anything like that? I can just put a camera on a stand and, and shoot it. And if I walk off to the left and they don't see me for a few minutes and I come back, that's fine. They'll be all right. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's narrow-minded, though. It is. It's thinking at this level when you could be going up here. And those that are doing it well, they're thinking, they're here right now, but they're thinking, how can I make this better? And they're investing in the technology that is readily available to us and the people that know this technology. And they're saying, help me translate what God has told me to get to my people. How do I get this in the digital fashion to get to our people? So that's our ministry. That's what we're built to do. That's what I'm so passionate about. That's why I kind of went completely off from my script right now. And I'm talking to you just from my passion, which is to say, we want to help. We want to do more. We want to be of assistance to enhance the worship service, not to take over the worship service, not to be able to say, oh, this is what you do, pastor, or whatever. Like, no, we're not in that. We're not in that. We take a product, right? The thumb drive again, and the thumb drive has this purpose. You tell us what this purpose is, and then we say, okay, this is the best way to get this purpose out to your people. We're going to give away 100 thumb drives at our next event to show them how this works. Then we're going to have a big screen and we're going to have testimonials where people have used the thumb drive. And then once they've used the thumb drive, then we're going to have a raffle where they can get the newest thumb drive or the latest firmware, or we're going to make sure there's materials or some sort of something on the thumb drive for only about 2 or 3 of them. And that's the raffle. Once you plug it into the computer and use it, then you see it. You know how creative that is? And that's what people get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for. But again, not in the church. We don't even give them the credibility or the leverage or the opportunity, I should say, to just be in the room ahead of time. Not on Saturday night, on Tuesday morning when you have taken your Sabbath on Monday, because we know it's not Sunday. And when you started over and done that reset, hey, come on in, family. Talk with me, figure this out. Let's work on this. And let's not just work on it for the next week, but let's work on it for weeks ahead. And let's get ahead of this. So I'm speaking to my denomination. I'm pleading with my denomination, really, to start to incorporate everything that I'm saying here and give a little bit of the trust that we're trusting from you to hear from God, and then the way that you hear from God and you are the focal point of the worship experience, because there's nothing more important than the sermon and the invitation to discipleship through our worship experiences. We trust that you've heard that from God. Now trust that we've heard from God to say, how can we assist with getting that to the people that are in this hybrid space? And for the people that, when I say hybrid, I mean the people that are in the worship experience through audio, visual, through photography, through video, and then the people that are online, because you can't do it all. So that's why we're here. And we want to help. We really do. We are sincere about that. So this space is a safe space. And it's a safe space for these digital minds that are working in these churches and these ministries all over our entire globe, right? I'm not just speaking to the people that are in the nation, but we have churches all over the entire world. And I know you all are struggling in certain areas and you're feeling maybe, down and out and discouraged because things aren't going your way. But trust me, I've been there And trust me, if you stay the course and you work through what might seem insurmountable right now, it can be done. You can work through it, and you can actually have results on the other side, where people will come up to you after worship experience and say, listen, I know that you're doing a great job, and I'm being blessed by it. I'm not able, there's somebody at home right now that, because of being immune deficiency compromised right now, they're not able to get inside the church, and your ministry is the only way that they get to see their church right now. It's that serious. It's life or death for some people. Some person went from one crazy situation, stumbled upon your live stream for your church and watched it for 15 minutes and changed their mind about something crazy they were about to do. That's how serious it is. They stopped from killing themselves. They stopped from killing other people. They stopped it because of what we're doing. It's important. And I'm sorry I'm getting so emotional and passionate about it, but I know what we're doing is working. We just got to keep pushing and keep trying to do better. Jesus spoke in parables when he was on this earth. He walked around and he knew we wasn't going to be able to understand the things that he was telling us, but this man gave us all these different parables and made it easy enough for a child to understand it. So then it worked right up the ladder. Everybody understood it. That's how we should be thinking. The church that gets that understands, I can't just preach like I normally preach, or I can't just sing like I normally sing, but I need a full experience to happen around this. And the only way for me to get that full experience is to work in tandem with the technology assistants, with the communications director, with the media consultants. Imagine if people were walking in the door because they've already experienced the flow of God throughout the week, through all the stuff that the communications people have been doing. You know how much that helped? Just the same way that just set up with your the psalm before the sermon. I can't think, sermonic hymns or whatever it may be. You know how that sets up a preacher, and y'all feel great off of that? This exact same way. If we're working throughout the entire week to set that atmosphere, and then your parishioners are walking in the door because they've already felt the love of Christ before they even get in the building, before they even meet an usher. You imagine how powerful that is? We can help. We can. We've been doing it, but we've been working behind the scenes and in a reactive state instead of a proactive state, right? Help us be proactive. Now, that was my soapbox. Again, I did not plan for much of that. I do want to just give you a definition, though, a definition of what a communications director really is, right? And then from the communications director title, then you can kind of take the little bits and pieces of what you're doing in your ministry to say, okay, I'm doing this aspect, this aspect, this aspect. Or you could say, hey, I'm doing all of this. And I might be a communications director, and not to say you need to go to your pastor and be like, I demand communication director title. No, it's not about that. It's more or less understanding the role. Like, understand, you have to be titled. You have to be identified. And once you're identified in Christ, to say, whoa, this is the ministry I've been doing. I didn't know. I get it now. Yes, this is a ministry, right? Then you can kind of say, oh, all right, that's what I'm gonna do for this season right now. I'm gonna go hard at that. And I know this will wake people up. So here we go. I got it written up top here. So excuse me, my eyes are going up to the top. A director of communication is responsible for managing and directing an organization's internal and external communications. Internally, inside the organization, inside the church. So let's just keep it in church right now. And then externally, how are the people outside looking at it? How do they see our church? How do they see our website? How do they see the branding around the church, the color scheme, the smell of the church? It gets that deep. It can get that deep. You know, you never thought about that. How does the church smell when you walk in? You know, that's communication. All of this stuff works on your sensories, right? So you walk in and you were dealing with, you know, a certain type of smell with an envelope that was sent to you from the church before. That smell then resonates to the church. That's connecting dots. That's keeping you within that love theme. right? The color scheme, the theme, all of these things work towards our external communication. But the most important part of what I just said was the internal communication. If you're not internally working together on one accord with like minds, with good content that's been given to you from the Father down, it ain't gonna work. That's the hardest thing for a communications director to do, is to try to promote something that ain't working to them, to the communication, like they're not convicted in it, and the church is not centered in Christ. You got to be centered. It's got to be growing. It's got to be working. It's got to be from the Father to the leader of the church, and then disseminated to the congregation and the top leadership, and then down to the congregation. And then you, as a part of the leadership, are then getting that vision, catching that vision, and running with that vision. It's got to be happening. And if it's not, then external communication is going to be fluff. It'll work, but once they get inside, they ain't gonna stay. They're going to be right out the back door. And how many of our back doors are wide open? Think about it. Because it's not authentic. It's not real. We all know real from fake. We all know when we're seeing something real, oh yeah, that's good food right there. You know, like I'm gonna recommend that restaurant. Or you might have seen the great picture on Yelp, all these reviews, but the reviews, you're a little shady. You're like, I don't know about these reviews. Then you go in, eat the food. You're like, oh man, this ain't real. They got you there one time, but we ain't never coming back. As a matter of fact, we're going on Yelp to tell people about how bad the food is, and that is fake. Don't go there. That's just a small example of what goes on in our church. It happens all the time. We go inside, we expect this wonderful experience that we might have seen on social media, in the email, with the mail, with the scent. And then we get to the church and we're like, that ain't the same smell. That's totally different. How, and then it's become a phony, and it works against you when you're doing that. When your social media doesn't line up to your ministry, when your live stream doesn't line up to your ministry, when you're, the love inside your church doesn't line up to the actual ministry that you are promoting, the gospel is not there in its authentic state, and it looks different on the outside, it will destroy you. I hate to say it so plainly, and I apologize if I'm stepping out of line with my bishops and everything, but it will take you down if you are out of line. It has to be the same, externally and internally, but it must start internally. And I know y'all all say, oh, that'll preach right there. That probably would. I ain't a preacher, but I'm just telling you what I know as far as communication is concerned. All right, let me go with this definition a little more. So you got communication directors are public relations professionals, not just average public relations people. Now, we're excellent at it, who control information between an organization and its customers. So we know the customers, we got a great handle on that, and we are able to take the information and provide it to the organization, from the organization to the customers, exactly how they need it. They not only manage a team to provide timely responses, so it's got to be timely. You can't wait weeks and months and stuff like that before you get back to people, but you also have to oversee the organization's marketing strategy, and strategy is huge. Strategy takes time. Strategy ain't something you just come up with out of the blue. Strategy is something you work on in the end of the quarter, or the beginning of the year, or whatever it may be, whatever your time frame is. And you look at things, you go back and you look at your worship experience, you chop it up, you see what worked, you identify what did not work, you remove your feelings out of it, and you collectively come up with a plan to move forward into the next 6 months or the next year, and then 5-year plans, and on and on and that. You have to do that. If you're not doing that, if you're not being really, really like, I could just take this, and I need to understand what's working, what's not. Even though I put 10 hours into that project, it's all good. If it didn't work, then we got to go in another direction. And I need my brothers and my sisters to be able to tell me that. That is called maturity in Christ. And I'm not sure how many of us really have that. I'm not sure how many of us are attached to these ritualistic ideologies and ideas and things of that nature that are littered throughout our worship experience that really aren't bringing anybody to Christ anymore, but we're just doing it because we're saying, oh, this is what we've always done. And the 15 people in this worship experience, if we go left or right and don't include that, that's not an A.M.E. Zion worship experience. It's not right. Not the case. I'm pushing everybody, and this is for the Zionites that are watching and for those that are watching outside of Zion. And I should have addressed y'all earlier. I know there's a whole bunch of people that are watching outside of Zion as well. If you're watching this, you know, you've identified it. You know there are certain things that just don't need to be there. And you know there's certain things that need to be there. It's okay. Pray on it and work towards getting it to be a part of your worship experience moving forward. A little bit more as far as the responsibilities are concerned. We establish and drive a multi-channel communication strategy. So we're making it and then we're pushing it out to a multifaceted way of learning and experiencing this worship. It shouldn't just be, oh, you have to come in the door of the church and the banner outside is the only kind of communication that we have. No, it's the banner outside, it's the social media, it's the mail, it's the email, it's all of these things. We have so many ways to communicate with people, and we need to be combating all the negative stuff that's out there, right? Because we get consumed with negative things that are just taking over our life day in and day out. How do we combat that? We got to figure out a way. And the only way to do that is to sit down, work on that strategy, and then bit by bit, taking little chunks and trying to figure out, oh, I can hit them here. I can give them a text message there. And some of it's not going to work for everybody, but it will. You'll be able to reach more than you expected. And people will be benefited because they're getting it anyway. They're receiving it from all these other places anyway. So give them Christ. Give them God. Prepare and manage all communications material, right? So we're supposed to be in our departments where it funnels down. I don't think many churches are doing this at all. It has a department or a person or an area where every communication just goes right into the central location and stays there and is drafted from that department and approved by higher leadership, pastor or whoever it may be that's been given responsibility over that, but not created there. Even if it's not approved, it goes back to that department for a revision, and then it goes back up for approval. That's how it should work. That's how it works in organizations all over the entire nation. So if you're hearing this for the first time and it's kind of different, and you're like, whoa, everything has always been me. I do everything. I'm a pastor. Or it might not even be a pastor. I'm a steward board. I'm the steward. I do everything. Nothing gets approved without me. That's not how it should work. It's delegation of responsibilities. You have your responsibilities and they should never step in your territory and vice versa. So develop a brand voice and maintain brand integrity across all platforms. So your integrity is huge. You should be Googling your church. You should be Googling your pastor's name. Set up Google alerts right now. I got Google alerts on every last one of our bishops. So the minute something go wrong, that thing pops right in my email, and I'm like, okay, what is this? And it might not be the same name. It might be another Thompson. I just use that name as an example. Don't go crazy, okay? Brian Thompson. Well, how many Brian Thompsons there are in the world? I mean, come on. So again, those names are funneling into one location, and then I'm able to say, all right, cool. This is where we're at, and I can alert who I need to alert, or I can negate it, or I know if it comes my way, hey, that's not the same man. That's somebody else. I already saw that. Got it. Should be doing that. Integrity, brand integrity is huge. Church brand integrity, huge. Manage all media relations. So the relationships that you have with other media outlets, right? You should be connected within your community, right? We're in Charlotte here, but we need to be all of North Carolina for the most part. For the headquarters, everybody needs to know what we're doing. Press release out to everybody at one time. When you have something going on here, vaccinations at your church, boom, everybody, one email should be set up, ready to go. It can happen. It takes a little work. The first time is going to be, able to get that, but sooner or later you get a big network of emails, and then all that stuff starts to go inside one email list, right? And then you just, again, pumping it out, staying visible, present in your community. You lead a team of communication and marketing and design professionals. You have to build your network, right? I'm building my network. I know you've seen it. I'm hiring the editors. I'm getting the communications, the people involved. I haven't been speaking to them as much because, again, it's trying to build this organization and have it have these arms with some sort of leadership and a delegation on these levels. But you've got to identify them first. Identify who will be the best people to do this job. Pray that they do it well, and then start to give some sort of leadership in those roles. So that's key as well. And then last thing is assisting creation of digital, video, audio, and print content. That's always at the end because you can be doing all of those things, right? You can be the video editor, the videographer, the content creator as a whole, the audio visual represent. You could be doing all of that. But I would contest that if you're doing that as a communication director, you are the multimedia technician, right? You're not the communications director, right? Your leadership and your overseeing and your delegation and your networking of all of the people that do it really, really good is paramount. You've got to identify these people. If they're not identified yet, pray on it and then seek these people. Like, find who's doing it that's in your area. It might be somebody outside the church, and what's to say that they can't come in and get saved, and they might not be saved and they can get saved. But listen, you've got to start somewhere. And you need help in these areas. And if you're not, it's not, oh, well, we won't deal with it. And, don't worry about social media. And God hasn't provided that. No, you've got to be on social media. Have to. There's no way to live. You can live. Okay, let me stop there. You can live. But there's no way to experience all that God has told us to go to all the nations, tell everybody. We can't do it if we are not in those spaces. Go ye therefore. How? If we're not going, ye therefore, like, we got to go out. Tell all nations. How you gonna do that with just the 50 people in your community and going around in a circle like that? It can't happen. That's where the people are. So you've got to be on there with the people. It has to happen. Now, yes, there's a lot of nonsense on there, and that's exactly why you need to be on there. I have people in my life that say, oh, stay off social media. It's too much chaos and craziness. Right. But that's because your ministry is not on there. You're not talking about your brand new tropical smoothie spot that just opened up in Maryland. That's amazing. That's driven home and directed and brought to life by A.M.E. Zion pastor. Like, we can't see that if you don't get on there, because we don't all live in the Maryland area. So how are we supposed to know? Small example, but that is it's how it works. So listen, your content is key. Work on your content. And when I say content, it's understanding that we have to do things different than when we were before the pandemic, right? And a lot of us are going right back. They went through the pandemic, got the Zoom and everything set up, but then you're right back to where you started, which is, I don't care about these people online. I'm not even talking to that audience too much anymore. I am really just talking to the 15 people I'm looking at right here, and I'm preaching to them and I'm speaking to them. What if somebody wants to give their life on Christ? What if you were that impactful? They heard you, but you ain't say not one word to them, and your invitation to discipleship did not include them at the end of the worship service? Unacceptable. It really is unacceptable. What if somebody wants to bless you with a donation, right? They were so impacted with your worship experience. They literally went to their bag and started figuring out as much money as they can give, opening up, savings accounts and all this other stuff. And then you have no digital way for you to receive the offering. You can't get it immediately. It had to be a check, and they don't do checks. And then the next day they forgot about you and they moved on. Think about that. How many times has that probably happened? It can't. It's unacceptable. We have to do better. It's opening the accounts up, getting the Cash App for business, getting the PayPal account, opening the website, doing all the little things that digitally are going to bring us to the right space and the right presence, so that we can be able to receive all of what God has for us in that space, because that space is real. It's legit. God forbid we go back into some sort of pandemic. I pray that God that we don't. But what happens if we did? We're right back to square one, and we should be way better than we were the first time around, but I'm not sure we are. And with that said, I'm really going to go right into just a little bit of practical, right? Because this was the space is for. This is to give you the practical solutions. How do I practically give solutions to everything that we're trying to do within our church space? I have again worked throughout the many churches through the pandemic, and again the spirit as which I do it with. You ask those pastors not to, it's not, I don't put it on Front Street. I'm not sharing it to my page. I'm not trying to make sure everybody knows that I'm the one that's putting this out for this church. No, it's not about that. It's just getting the word out. It should be white label. White labeling means nobody knows where's it coming from. God knows what's going on. That's it. That's all that matters. And that's how I've conducted everything that I've done in ministry. You never really seen me push myself out there. And if you got that spirit, like I'm only doing this because I want to push myself out there, this is not your ministry. This is not your ministry. You need another aspect of ministry that you need to be working in. But attach yourself to the mouthpiece of God through his man servant or woman servant here on earth. And then push that person forward. Elevate that person because you know that person is authentic and is hearing from God. That's where it should be. So practically, working the pandemic, was going in a few churches, doing pre-records here. Then I went to, making sure that, sometimes the pandemic would prevent us from even going into church and had to figure out solutions to do it online, right? And I went through all the applications. I'm talking about every application that you could think of, from all the Zooms and the WebExes and the Teams and the StreamYards and the eCams and the vMixes, the Wire Transfer, the OBSs, the Wirecasts, OBS, everything. I've done it all. And there's more out there. Stuff that's happening every single day. All the huge, networking platforms that they have now, the Hop-ins and things of that nature. I've done it all. So what I'm about to show you is probably the one-stop shop, and it's really not one stop. There's two parts to it, but it's a package deal, right? That can kind of cover everything that you're doing just to begin. Okay, this is not advanced stuff I'm taking you through right now. This is not gonna take a ministry that's doing amazing stuff and got words on the screen and swinging graphics and all this stuff. Y'all are doing it already. The sound is immaculate. The camera is centered and not shaking and stuff like that. It's A-okay. Don't switch what you're doing. Keep it up. Y'all been doing great. This is for the church. I got to look at it from my entire denomination. And my entire denomination, I love you all to death. I really do. I want the best for you all. And I know that y'all are not all caught up. Right? Y'all went through the pandemic, but you still need some help. First of all, I'm opening myself up. Like, I'm here. Like, you can contact me, email me. I'll give you my email address when it's all said and done. And just and then let's work through it, because everybody's situation is a little bit different. However, virtual aspect of it, whether you're hybrid or completely virtual, I think this Zoom to Boxcast solution is a pretty good one. Okay, it's a pretty good solution. So here we go. Let me find this. So here we go. Bottom of the screen. It's talking about recommended hardware solutions, right? You obviously you're going to need a camera. You're going to need tripod. You're going to need microphone, computer, and lights. Now let's go through each one of those. Camera, you can get the biggest, best camera that you want. You can get an SDI connection on the back. We'll go through all that in future episodes. Okay, we can't get through everything tonight. You can get HDMI outs and all sorts of bells and whistles, connecting XLRs at the top and make sure the clean sound comes in, or it can be simplistic and be simply an iPhone that's hooked up to an iRig that then takes the sound from your board. It could be that simple. I'm not going to go too much into that again right now. You need some sort of visual presence, right? So whatever camera you choose, you put that on a tripod. You make sure the tripod is sturdy and steady and not to the left or to the right, and it's balanced. So once you get that done, then getting decent sound in there, not sound from the room. That's a huge no-no. You have to get sound from the microphones that are inside the church. This is sort of complicated in some areas and then really simple in other areas, but entertaining, figuring out how to get the sound from the soundboard inside your microphone is huge. All right. I mean, sorry, inside your video is huge. All right. If you put the iPhone up on the stand and you just let it rock there, and then we're catching ambient noise from everything, we're going to hear the crying baby that's sitting right next to the iPhone louder than we're going to hear the preacher because we're so far away from that. I'm sure you haven't put it up as close as possible. So that's key as well. Then computer, right? You have to invest in the computer. There's no way, shape, or form. There's no way around it. We got to be able to say, hey, we got to put some money into a decent computer that is only doing this. It's not doing other things during the week. It's not doing something in addition to that on Sunday, but it has ability to do a hardwired connection, right? So don't just get something that it has to be Wi-Fi or anything like that. Hardwired connection, and has a good processing speed, and has also a good memory, and also the ability on the hard drive to be able to store some light files, because most of it is going to be for your streaming atmosphere, your streaming network, right? And then come the lights as well. If you can put lights on your subject wherever they are, that's going to just enhance the worship. But again, camera, tripod, microphone, computer, and you could even get away with decent video. Sound, you can't get away without good sound. Think about what you do when you walk into a church, right? You go into a church and you survey how big the church is and where you want to sit, right? And then your sensories go off to say, oh, I can hear really, really well. The microphones, them speakers are booming. It's perfect. Guess what? The whole room is open to you at that point, because you're not too concerned with having to sit and see the pastor, but you must hear what he's saying. So you can sit in the back, honestly, if you're comfortable with that. I mean, some people want to sit up in front, but you can sit in the back. When you sit in the back, as long as you can hear, you're fine. Now, flip that. If you can't hear, or if it's low, or if it's muffled, or if it's crazy, your entire worship is done. The experience is finished. You have to be able to hear. All right. So it's important that you work on that sound, no feedback, no muffledness, no anything like that. Once you get it clean, make sure it's not just clean for the room, because it sounds different in the room than it does for the people online. But you need to hear, go in another room, connect the sound to the live stream or whatever like that, go live, and then go out in another room and listen to it. And if it sounds good, then you're in business. But if it doesn't, you might need to do some more adjusting. Again, this is broad overview, and I'm really going through this fast. I am really done with my time. So you recommended software that I was talking about is Zoom to Boxcast. Now, I'm just going to go through a real quick demonstration of this. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so this is what Boxcast is, right? We are going to go to the dashboard, and I'll even show you what this is kind of what it looks like when you log on, right? If you have any upcoming events, you see it right here, and then you can make as many events as you want, log in, right? You schedule a broadcast, you can put in the title and an image, and your source, where it's coming from. This is huge right here. Where it's coming from is humongous. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit right now. And then time, date, and all this other stuff. And then you schedule the broadcast. And when you're done with it, it'll look like what you see right here first. Just saying that this is upcoming. All right. On the 13th. Once you do that, you go to, let me see what I have. Let's go to Zoom. And on the back end of Zoom, if you have not done this already, I'm sure most of you have, but I'm still taking it for everybody that's listening right here. You go to your settings. When you go to your settings, you really are looking for something that is way down the bottom in the advanced section. And the advanced section here, where it says allow live streaming of meetings, right? Let me see. Can I zoom into that? All right, you'll see that a little bit more. Allow live streaming of meetings. And it gives you these options, right? It gives you Facebook, gives you Workplace, YouTube, Twitch. But this is what we care about right here. Custom live streaming. Custom live streaming. This must be checked. The reason why it's not checked now is because I have, I'm sorry, that is checked and it's kind of grayed out now is because I have Zoom is open right now. Okay. So don't worry about that. You will have this option if you're in the right plan. I apologize. I don't know which plan this is, but I think most of them give you this option. Custom live streaming. This is what you care about. So let me zoom back out. All right. Boom. So once that's checked, then you open up Zoom. And Zoom is here. Let's go to just open up a new meeting. Okay, cool. So we got a new meeting open, and you've seen this a bunch of times at the bottom of the screen. Might look a little bit different. Like you might not have told polls to be on there or the record button or breakout rooms, but for the most part, this is always the same, right? This is what we care about. The more button, after you've checked that custom live streaming and live streaming options, you hit more here. And let me zoom into this a little bit so you can see it. This live on custom live streaming is your game changer. All right. Let me pull out. And hit that button. Streaming URL, streaming key, live streaming page URL. This is how we are going to get it to your website. All right. And let me just stop right here to explain what it is we're doing. I'm sorry, I kind of jumped into the nuts and bolts of it and didn't explain it. We're trying to hit the non-stop shop, the one-stop shop of everybody being able to see every aspect of your worship experience, whether they are calling in on Zoom. And that was the reason why I'm keeping Zoom in the mix here, because I'm really not a big Zoom fan, but they have this beautiful synergy where you can call in and where you can also do video at the same time. And in addition to the fact that everybody is really comfortable with Zoom right about now, I think that's the way to go, right? So Zoom, call in, got them covered. Zoom, video, got them covered, right? You can give out the link, you can do everything you've been doing on that. Then social media. And social media and your live stream, and your website are what you are trying to accomplish. Being able to go live on Facebook and YouTube and go live on your website are what you're trying to accomplish here. So you get to this page on Zoom, you go back to Boss Cash, and then here we go. I believe it's in sources. So I have StreamYard up, Ecamm Live, a couple of other ones right here. And if I were to, I'm just going to pick another one right now, Ecamm Live. If I were to go here and I would add a source and then label it whatever you label it. I made these titles right here, so don't worry about that. And it's in my sources tab. And then I get the server URL, the stream key, and the RTMP URL code. This is what they're asking for right here. Okay? So you go back to the dashboard, you go to the sources, you make a source, whatever you want to call it. None of it doesn't matter what you call it, honestly. It's offline right now. It's not connected because I'm not using that one. I'm using my StreamYard source. That's why it's connected. And then I copy this server URL and I go back here and I put it inside here. And I go back to stream key. Don't use this one that they try to give me. I go back to stream key. And I copy this and I put this in here. And then I do live streaming page URL, right? This could be basically your website or your Facebook page or anything like that. It really doesn't matter what you put in here. I'll just put in A.M.E Church, right? Copy and boom, there. Now I go live. Now, when I hit this go live button, will it even do it? Yeah, it will. That's amazing. It's going to say to your viewers and to yourself, it's going to say this meeting is being live streamed. Got it. Cool. And then the minute you hit that go live button, don't worry about that, just taking this time to get up to where it's at. It's saying that this thing is actually live, right? And then it takes you to the website that you just put in. That's really cool. Let me show you what that looks like now on the back end, right? So you see what just happened right there? It says connected. because it took like, about half a minute. But now this Ecamm Live is being connected to this source. So now if I go to my dashboard, my scheduler dashboard, my broadcast, and it's going to take a little while because it's doing a lot. Come on. And while it's loading, if I put my broadcast name in and all this other stuff, I will have an option for the source. And the source, come on, do it for me. I got a lot going on here. Okay. So this is what we care about. The source is now the Ecamm Live. It'll pop up right here. And then you put all the information in and you schedule the broadcast. I'm just going to put test here and put test there. And that's what I really care about right now. You put it on 720 and it go live whenever I want it to go live. Make sure it's public, channels, whatever channel I want to go. If I want to go to Star of Zion, I will put it on there. And then the destination and schedule broadcast. I'm actually not going to do this one because I don't want it. Well, I'll do it right now. And then I'll just delete it. So then this one is up. It's running. Now, this is a concurrent stream, so it probably won't really get going. But on my dashboard now, let me see. So I have my upcoming broadcast is still there, but I have this one that I made that's a test. And then I've also got like another one that's running right now, right? That right there is the powerful thing about what we're doing. I think what happened was my previous broadcast is over. Yeah, I only did an hour by accident, but don't worry about that. So anyway, so I'm sorry to the viewers that were watching online. I'll put it back up later on. So now that this is up and running, it's done. Now you've got your stream here. I'm testing. I'm live right here. If I wanted to hit this live button, and this is what we're trying to accomplish. This is like your embed, which can be embedded inside your website, right? And this is how this is looking. This is how everything you've been watching that I've been doing is being done. It's being done like this on Star of Zion. It's being done like this on the A.M.E Zion Church right here, right? And this just ended, so it was only an hour long, but all of that this is where this all takes place. And I'm able to go into my media center live stream, and it gives me a nice little playlist here, just like you saw on the other one. It tells me all the previous videos that I've done in the past, and then the one that just happened just a little while ago. So this is how you get that. You embed it inside your website. Oh, there's one more thing that I need to show you about, which is how you connect your social media to it. So let's go back to Bosscash really quick, broadcast, and let's go to edit broadcast and publish destinations right here. This is where I can identify Facebook, and then all of the YouTube accounts and Twitter, and if I wanted to, other RTMPs, which is just other areas that I want to put it on other websites and things of that nature. All of that can be identified right here. So I can put this Facebook up. It'll ask me to log into my Facebook. And then once it's there, it's going to ask me, do I want to put it on my timeline? Do I want to put it on my page, my group page? And even when I go to my page, I have hundreds of pages, right? So, not hundreds, but a lot of pages. And in my groups, I got a whole bunch of groups too. So if I wanted to, I could just pick a page. I go to mine, and then I hit save changes, and then let's see here if it actually did it. Let me refresh this page. See, now the destination is over here in the corner, and then I can add this destination or go live with it. Actually, it says it's creating right now. It's trying to connect because it knows I did it late. But if I would have done that in the beginning, it would have all the destinations right side by side as to where it's going. So it would come from the source of Ecamm and then go to every destination that I wanted to go to, which would include the embed that would be how we'll put it on a website. Last thing I'll show you is the embed, right? So if I go to embed here, this is the player that I was talking about. I can take this embed code, I can copy it to my clipboard. All of this is the embed code. Copy it to my clipboard, and I can make it look like full feature with the, just like you said, the videos on the side, and then a little description at the bottom, and the player in the middle. or I can have the player and description by itself, or just the player, right? Or it could be a link or whatever it may be. But if I copy that to the clipboard, and then I take that and then I put that on my website, right? So if I were to go, this is the back end of the Star of Zion site. So if I go to edit the site, and it takes me to Wix back end really quick, then all I'm doing is really copying that code on there. I'm just going to make a page real quick. Let's see, add menu. Let's see if I go to site menu, let's add a page. I'm just going to pick anything, add a page. This is just me, kind of going through it right now, but it doesn't even really matter where I put it, honestly. Let's see here. If I did add here, let's see. And I went to embed code right here on the bottom. And this is just the way Wix is working. Embed HTML. And then if I drop this HTML in here, enter code, and I paste it in here, and I update it, look what happens. I'm just going to pick anything, add a page. It's actually playing right now. Like, you can see it. This is just me, kind of going through it right now. And you can hear it as well. And I'm making it bigger. And again, this could be my page. And it really is as simple as that. If I were to publish this, you would see this right here on that page. Let me. This is just the way Wix is working. Let me just get rid of this now. But that's how simple it is. And if I drop this, that's how simple it is. So again, I say simple, but I know that was fairly difficult for those to be able to comprehend that really are not in that space at all. But then for some people, they've done this a million times over, and they're probably just endorsing what I'm saying. And that is the purpose of what we're doing on this evening. And I'm really wrapping up right now. For me to obviously tell you what I hope we can do in the future as far as the denomination, as far as technology is concerned, and coupling that with our actual creative worship experiences moving forward, but also to give you practical solutions to how you are going to work through the rest of this pandemic and the future, period. For everything that we're doing, from church, from organizations, from your own personal businesses and stuff like that, this stuff can be applied, and I can be contacted at any point to be able to talk through this with you further. So I'll give you one email address. I'll even put it on the screen here, cco@amezion.org, and we'll add that banner. It's as simple as that on StreamYard. I'm using StreamYard for this application right now. So I'll put it on the screen. Please contact me if you have any questions about what I said here today. If you're watching this later on, please, again, subscribe, like, follow, share this video if it was beneficial to you at all. And then tell somebody about it, right? Like, give somebody the information, and know that we'll be back here every first Tuesday of the month at 8 o'clock. And if you would join me, again, I'll have special guests on moving forward. Next month's special guest is going to be the Reverend Coloma Smith. And he's in Palo Alto, California, at University A.M.E. Zion Church. He's a pastor there. He's been doing some dynamic things throughout the entire pandemic, even before the pandemic. I know him from Westchester, New York. We ain't gonna go there, but we'll chop it up and we'll start to dive into some, again, practical solutions, give you a little bit of our opinions and our suggestions, and then really have just a conversation around media moving forward. So definitely look out for that moving forward. Here it is again, the flyer. Every first Tuesday of the month at 8 p.m. we will be right here in the same exact space. All right. And the way that this continues is you supporting the Star of Zion. If you are buying your subscriptions and paying your, through your registration with the periodicals, all of that money funnels down into what we can do with the communications department. So we really are asking you to go and subscribe today. Subscribe to the Star of Zion. It's really a great paper. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the editor-in-chief, but we are putting hard work into the content that's being put in the paper. And we are putting hard work into how the paper's design and look and feel is happening. If you have any suggestions, please shoot them my way. You have not been coy about that at all, about telling me about things that you'd like to see in the Star. So please continue to do that. We are open to everything, to hearing your suggestions. And I'm trying to give you the best quality product for your money. It's $38 a year. Yes, for 12 issues, and you can be on the subscription and just have it renew and things of that nature. So you can get it through your annual conference if you're registered there, or if you're not and you just want to be an individual subscriber, you can do that again at the scroll at the bottom of the screen. That's subscribe at starofzion.org on today. Two more things. Our bishop that's going to be featured for this month is going to be the Bishop Yu Effiong. He is going to be on with me on the 26th of this month. I believe that's a Sunday. Don't quote me on that date. I believe it is. And we are going to do it on a Sunday because we have to be mindful of our global reach that we have to make sure that we can have the stream a lot earlier so that everybody in Africa in his district can be able to watch. And we also want to talk about, if I can find the flyer, here it is. This upcoming Now and Then, which is going to be on Monday, and it's going to feature the vision and the history of the operations and the publishing house of the A.M.E Zion Church. So we're going to talk with the current chief operating officer. His name is Reverend Julius Walls Jr. And we are going to talk with the immediate past chief operating officer, and his name is Mr. Herbert Watkins. So please tune in to that. It's going to be streaming live on Star of Zion Networks, and it's going to be on this upcoming Monday. Market calendars for that. That's a new series. We did one last month with the General Secretary Auditor, and that was amazing as well. So please go back and look at that one, and then plan for this one. We're going to try to do these on a monthly basis as well. We're learning more about the inner workings of our denomination, from the history lesson and to the vision of what's to come. So please mark your calendars for that. One more announcement is the fact that we now are going to make the announcement that we are going to have our poster for the bishop's poster on sale. And that is going to happen on Monday. And that is strictly because we need to get the link up on the website and make sure that everything is working appropriately on the website. But on Monday, I'm letting you know, this is like a preview of the fact that the poster will be available. It's going to be available for $19.99. If you want the poster with a basic frame, we can frame it for you and ship it to you, $35. And if you want one of these antique frames, it's really made good. It's got a good material to it, engineered wood. That's for $125. And it will be available at this link. We're going to post this online later on. So again, don't look for the actual purchase just yet. But on Monday, this is going to go live, and you'll be able to purchase your bishop's poster for 2022. So I appreciate you all on this evening. I know we ran way over time, but I hope you were able to hang with me and experience everything that needed to be talked about tonight. I pray this blessed you in some way, shape, or form, and that you're able to share this video with everybody that wasn't able to watch on tonight, and to be able to uplift the kingdom from the media side with your media mind for the days to come. Thank you so very much, and God bless you moving forward. This is Darren Kent signing off.